Holy shit. Talk about brutal death for season 7. Fuck me. Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and I am gonna be discussing the last scene of The Walking Dead season 6 from Last Day on Earth, and who possibly got Lucille'd. Holy shit, so there's many theories as to who possibly got Lucille'd, who it could have been, etc., etc. So who the fuck got Lucille'd? So yeah, now they've kind of already put the clip on YouTube on AMC. They've kind of already released the clip. Okay, and yeah, now there are already some facts that most people are agreeing with. It's not Rick and Carl. That many people seem to agree it's not Rick and Carl, and it's got to be a guy. Okay, those are the three things that everybody seems to be agreeing upon. It's neither Rick and Carl, and it has to be a guy. So that means all the females are saved, and Rick and Carl are saved by that logic. And yeah, no, there are some hints as to how this works out. And I've heard many theories, many explanations as to how this works out, why it's not Rick and Carl, why it's not any of the women, and who it could possibly be. Now, as to why it's not Rick and Carl, it's because, and it makes sense, the reason it's not Rick and Carl, it's because right before Negan kills whoever he's going to kill, he says that if anybody moves, to cut out the boy's other eye and feed it to his dad. Okay, so he's talking about Carl and cutting out his other eye and feed it to his dad, being Rick. Now, it wouldn't make sense for him to say that if it was Rick or Carl getting the bat. So right off the bat, no pun intended, Rick and Carl aren't saved. Or are saved. Sorry. Now, people say it's not any of the women, mostly due to the fact that, and I have to double check on this, but apparently Negan says he's taking it like a champ, meaning it's a guy. Now, I heard, taking it like a champ or something like that. I never heard any specification on the gender. But yeah, I'm going to have to rewatch the episode. But if he does say he's taking it like a champ, it's got to be one of the guys. So who do we have left between the guys? We have Glenn, Daryl, Aaron, Eugene, and Abraham. So we have those 5 guys. Now, I made a list of my own of who it could possibly be. During the scene, they started, we have shots of every single person. We started going over who we see a shot of. And in order, we see Rick, Maggie, Abraham, Michonne, Glenn, Daryl, Sasha, Aaron, Carol, Michonne, Eugene, Sasha, Rosita, Aaron, Glenn, Maggie, Daryl, Abraham, Carl, and Rick. So yeah, now after at first he goes in order, and then he kind of just like says fuck the order, and just they start shooting it at random. They just kind of show random snippets at random. However, being the type of guy that Scott Gimple is, I feel like there is some possible there's some possible clue as to who it may be based off the order. Now, in the order, we see now most of these characters we see their shots at least twice. We see Rick's shot twice, Maggie twice, Abraham twice, Michonne twice, Glenn twice, Daryl twice, Sasha twice, Aaron twice, and Carl twice. The only people we don't see twice is Eugene and Rosita. Now, if it goes by the fact that he's killing a guy, that would mean that Eugene gets the bat. And to a certain degree, that would make sense in the context of the episode, because when he is saying his heartfelt goodbye to Abraham and to the rest of the group, he tells them how to make bullets. So, right there, we have a possible candidate for Eugene may get the bat. Now, one thing I've seen a few people comment, and even one of my friends said it, that the person who got the bat had to have short hair. Reason being is since we got the point of view shot, we only saw it, like this. We saw, point of view shot looking at someone like this. Okay, had it been a person with long hair, say Daryl, and this mostly goes to Daryl and even Glenn. Some people argue Glenn, which is something I guess would make sense depending on the positioning of his hair. Had it been Glenn, it would have been kind of covered like this. I mean, with hair obviously, but there would have been hair covering it. Um, so I mean, like, let me try to get behind the camera just so you guys can see. Let me just use my actual hair. And let's see if I could use this properly. It would have been something like that. You see a little bit of hair. We would have seen some kind of hair, and then the person getting the bat. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably not the best example, but yeah. So by that logic, some people already eliminate Daryl and even Glenn by that logic. So we're down to Eugene, Abraham, and Aaron. And now, who would actually be deserving of this type of death? If we're down to Eugene, Abraham, and Aaron wouldn't really be deserving of this type of death. He's a large enough character that would be shocking if he dies, but he's not really the type of character that would deserve this type of death. Okay. Now I'm gonna add Glenn into this because also it depends on the positioning of his hair. Because if you look at Glenn's hair, it's kind of parted to the side. It's parted on each side, and although he does have long hair, it's normally parted. It's not like Daryl, where it's all covering his face and whatever, kind of like that, So, yeah. I mean, I know I'm going off on kind of on a tangent here, but I'm just explaining what the theories are, how it is, and yeah. So say we're down to 4 people: Abraham, Glenn, Eugene, and Aaron. We could take out Aaron because he's not really deserving of that type of death. So we're down to Glenn, Abraham, and Eugene, and those are most of the people most people say possibly died. People still put Daryl on this list, but for the most part, they agree that's one of these 4 people: Glenn, Abraham, Eugene, or Daryl. People are kind of hesitant to put Daryl on the list because of the point of view shot. Because if it had been Daryl, he would have had his hair kind of on over his eyes, at least one eye. If you see shots of him, he does have hair on almost on top of each of his eyes, especially the one on his right eye. I want to say it's or left eye. Let me just make sure. His left eye. Okay, and he definitely would have had hair on top of his left eye. So yeah, and possibly even his right. So many people are say, I mean, it could be Daryl, maybe it couldn't, depending on how that point of view shot is. Yeah, I mean, the hair in that situation kind of makes it or breaks it. So yeah, I mean, Daryl. Some people say it could be Daryl, some people say it couldn't be Daryl. And another point that people are pointing out is the fact that Negan says he's taking it like a champ. How many people can actually take a blow to the head? Okay, how many people could actually take a blow to the head? Let's be realistic here. Probably, I mean, if we go just by the guys, any of the guys, Carl will be dead instantly, straight up. Aaron, he'd be dead too, okay, or he'd be knocked out at the very least. Carl and Aaron will be knocked out. Rick, he could go either way. He depending how hard he hits him, he could either get knocked out or he could still somewhat survive. Same thing with Eugene. I feel like he'd more likely be knocked out. However, I could see him surviving at least one hard blow to the head. Glenn, again, double-edged sword. I could see him surviving or not. But if you're going off the comics, he's gonna. I'm gonna give Glenn the leverage that he will survive the first blow to the head if we go to the comics. Abraham, he'll definitely survive a blow to the head. I mean, he's gone against worse. So I feel like, and I'm pretty sure he's trained to do that when he was in the army right before the apocalypse. So I feel like Abraham would take a blow to the head really easy. I mean, not easily. Like, it hurt like a bitch, but yeah, I feel like he'd probably be the one most likely to take a blow to the head. Daryl, I feel like he may get knocked out. I feel like he'll either get knocked out or he'll barely be able to stand up. I feel like he'll barely be able to stand up. So I feel by that logic, Abraham is the most likely one to die. And honestly, that's when I'm putting my bets on. It's Abraham. Many people are putting their bets on Abraham, even because of the story. I mean, at this point, he is dead in the comics. His relationship between Rosita and Sasha, if he is to die, will be greatly explored between the two of them. How they react. Now, there is one thing that is kind of preventing people from saying that it is Abraham, and it's kind of a big deal. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a lie from Scott Gimple. And that's the fact that Scott Campbell said that Abraham will have his moment. He will have his moment in the All Out War story arc that's in the TV series. So if you go by that, Abraham won't be dead, unless that's just diverting. That's just diverting our attention. Oh, so Abraham's not dead. So it's gonna be another character. So yeah, I mean, who do you think is gonna die? Is dead? I'd have to put my. I'm gonna put my bets on Abraham. He was my third most likely choice as to who was gonna die, and I feel that after going all over this, I feel like the order right now is Abraham. Shit. If I have to choose 4 people, it's gonna be Abraham, Eugene, Daryl, and Glenn. And if I have to choose an order, Abraham, Glenn, Eugene, and Daryl. I think that's gonna be my order. Abraham, Glenn, Eugene, and Daryl. I feel like those are the top 4 most likely people to die. So shit. One of the worst endings to an episode, I can say that much. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for it to be Aaron because he's not that big of a character. It wouldn't make sense for it to be Carl, and even if it was Carl, even if not even if it was Carl, but even if Negan hadn't said that line about take out the kid's eye and take out the kid's other eye and feed it to his dad. Even if he hadn't said that, it still wouldn't be Carl because Carl doesn't have one eye. If you close one eye, actually try. If you cover one eye or whatever, you'll see part of your nose. You'll see part of your nose. If they were doing the point of view shot, from Carl's perspective, you'd have to put something there to kind of make it seem like a nose. And it's something you ignore. Apparently, your eyes ignore your nose when you're looking at it with both eyes. But if you're only looking straight ahead or whatever with one eye, your nose is always going to be there's kind of some obstruction. There's always going to be, even if you're not looking at it directly, you're always going to see there's kind of some. You're always going to see like there's some kind of obstruction there. Like here, there's a triangle. And let's see if I can do it here. It's going to be almost like this. Even if you don't notice it that much, it's going to be something like that. Let me get out of the shot. And I know it's a lot of weird shots like this right now, but it's going to be something like that. Even if you don't see it that much, you're always going to see it a little bit. So it's going to be something like that. So that's also why it wouldn't be Carl. And that's why it wouldn't be Rick if he hadn't said that line. Well, he's the main character, so fuck. So it's not any of the women. Many people already know are agreeing upon that immediately. It's not any of the women. So it's gotta be one of the men. Would it be surprising if it is one of the women? Sure. Now, if I'm not saying it is one of the women, but if I had to put my bets on one of the women, Rosita. Who do we have? Rosita, Maggie, Sasha, or Michonne? I'd say if it was one of the women, it's gonna be between Rosita and Sasha, to be honest. And even after that, killing them right now wouldn't make sense for the women, any of the women. It wouldn't make sense killing them off now that much. I mean, you'd have characters that are pissed off. Kill off Rosita or Sasha, Abraham, and if you kill off Sasha, Abraham's gonna be pissed off. Kill off Rosita, Eugene, and Abraham are gonna be pissed off. Kill off Maggie, Glenn's gonna be really pissed off, and kill off Michonne, Rick and Carl are gonna get pissed off. I mean, aside from pissing off the connections, there's not really much story with cleaning off a woman. So yeah, it has to be. I think I feel it seems right if it were a guy. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? I'm gonna make a poll down in the comments down below. What are your thoughts? Who do you think got killed between my 4 options? Eugene, Abraham, Daryl, or Glenn? Who do you think got killed off? Comment on that down below. Let me know. Like the video, share on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or whatever you guys prefer. And that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.